Checkboxes can be used either in a group or individually. I've opened contact.php in the chapter 10_03 folder of the exercise files. On line 76 there's a standalone checkbox that asks the user to accept terms and conditions. Checkbox groups require different handling, so I'll deal with them in a separate video. In this video we'll look at how to handle a single checkbox that you want to treat as a required field. The name of this checkbox is terms, but the input element doesn't have a value. If you don't set an explicit value for a single checkbox, the value defaults to on if the checkbox is selected. So I think it's a good idea to always have an explicit value. So I'm going to add a value in here, and the value I'll set to agreed. So that this checkbox can be processed by the script in process_mail.php, we need to add it to both the expected and the required arrays. So at the top of the page, let's add terms to the expected array and also to the required array. If the form is submitted without the checkbox being selected, it's not included in the post array. So we need to check if post terms has been set. We need to do that before we go to process_mail.php. So I'm going to add an extra line on line 14, then a conditional statement. If not is set, then we're looking in the post array for terms. So if it hasn't been set, we'll set post terms to an empty string. This is necessary because the script in process_mail.php assumes that the post array will contain all elements listed in the expected array, and setting the value to an empty string will add terms to the missing array if it's a required field. So now we need to go back to the HTML part to handle two particular scenarios. So let's go down. And the first scenario is that the checkbox has been selected, but there are other problems. So we need to show that it has been selected. So inside the input element, just before the closing angle bracket, insert some extra space, and then a PHP block goes in there. And in the PHP block, we need a conditional statement. If post, so in other words, the form has been submitted, and terms is equal to agreed. If it is, we echo checked. This terms variable comes from the mail processing script, which converts the post array into new variables based on the array element key. So post terms becomes simply terms. So that's fixed that. The other scenario is that the checkbox hasn't been selected, so we need to show an error message. So that needs to go inside the label. So add an extra line before the closing label tag, then a PHP block, and inside there, if missing and in array, we're looking for terms in the missing array. So if it is, we need to add an HTML span with the class warning, and then the message will be please signify acceptance, and then we just need to close that conditional statement there with endif and a semicolon. So let's save that and test this in a browser. So let's agree to the terms and conditions. I'll fill in my name, but I'll ignore comments, which is required. Click that. Got to add any comments, but this has remained selected, so that part is working fine. Let's deselect that and then fill in both my name and some comments, and then send comments. And although both of the required fields have been filled in, because I've not selected this, we're now told please signify acceptance. So that's how to deal with a single checkbox that you want to make a required field. All the code goes in the same file as the form. There's no need to make any changes to process_mail.php.